Welcome to QXA, the podcast. We talk about trucks, SUVs, off-roading, custom builds, and everything in between. The show is brought to you by Off-RoadX, ultimate enthusiast.
Yeah.
Peter Lindsay, sorry, kind of botched your intro there. But today we're going to be demystifying tire tread rubbers on your wheels.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, yep, I own Off-RoadX. You're right. I sponsor the show. This is Sean. He was in the last episode. We had a little camera issue in the last episode, so we figured we'd invite him back for another one.
There we go. Thank you.
And on top of that, he works. He's the only one that'll get that joke.
Oh, okay.
And last but not least, Spencer with the radio voice, the host with the most.
There you go. That was nice. Yeah. So once again, we're kind of be talking about choosing the right rubber for your rig. All right. So buckle up. Let's get into it. All right. We typically start off with fan questions, topics, and everything like that. First one we're going to hit you guys with is, what's the difference between all-terrain, AT, mud terrain, MT, and then hybrid tires?
You go.
All right.
You start.
All right.
Hybrid sounds like it's on a Prius. I'm just saying. Is that real? Did I get something right?
Maybe.
Okay. I'll let you answer these.
Yeah, so all-terrain tires are typically tires that are designed for all-terrain. It's right in the name. Pretty simple. Mud terrain, similar, mud terrain. Hybrid tires are tires that are trying to do too much.
Okay.
So that's the short answer. All-terrain tires typically have like a 3-peak mountain snowflake rating. A 3-peak mountain snowflake rating means that they have been tested to a certain specification, that they'll be good enough in snow and ice conditions. They stop at a certain distance. They go fairly relatively easy. All-terrain is designed for all-terrain, really. That's really what they mean. They're like an all-season tire for off-roaders.
Gotcha.
That's kind of the easy thing. Mud terrain, it's right in the name. They're designed for mud.
Is it bad to drive them on the road?
No, not
Do they wear
necessarily.
down faster and stuff like that? I imagine a little bit.
No, not really.
No, not unless you have a suspension issue or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They'll ride the same.
Road noise?
Yes.
Road noise.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
Road noise
Sean
sucks.
loves road noise.
I hate road noise.
So yeah, mud terrains will typically have more road noise,
Yeah.
and they're designed for mud. They're usually much better in like sandy conditions as well.
Okay.
River crossings, mud, those types of things. They're not going to be as good in like snow and ice. They're not going to be as
Really?
good in water. Yeah, absolutely.
I always thought mud tires would be better in snow.
There are certain instances where they can be, but it's very limited.
Like too knobby or something? Or
Yeah, so if you're in like a specific type of snow that maybe is like a little moist and it's pretty deep, then a mud terrain might work well, especially if you air down. If you air down and get a lot of footprint over the terrain.
Yeah.
And then a hybrid tire, like I said, it's trying to do too much. Hybrid tire is trying to be everything, and it's going to be average at best at everything and not good at anything. So I always recommend stay away from hybrid tires if you can, but I understand that like some people's budget just you can't afford to have like multiple sets of tires, or you can't afford to do the one thing there. So anything to add there?
No, but I'll throw you another question. All-terrain tires is not a snow tire, is it?
It can be.
Okay.
Yeah, so if they're 3-peak mountain snowflake rated, you can use them as a snow tire. So 3-peak mountain snowflake rated all-terrain tire could actually be pretty good in the snow and ice. In fact, for my wife's Explorer ST, we throw on BFG KO2s for the winter. And
tire.
not only that, it looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
Yeah.
You know, an ST with an all-terrain tire on it. Normally the ST has like a street tire on it
Okay.
and a big wheel. We put like a small wheel on it, and then we oversized the tire. We made the tire as big as it could possibly fit underneath the fender so that it looks really big in the fender, and it's, you've seen it. It
Does
looks...
Yeah, it looks really
It
good.
looks really good, yeah.
Right on.
I'd prefer it on a 4Runner, but
Here's his Toyota
the
bias.
Toyota.
Oh, he's trying to get a keychain. How do tire sizes affect off-road and on-road performances? Sean?
Oh, yeah. This is actually a Peter question, but obviously the bigger tire you got, the more you're going to get out of it, especially on off-road, right? So you're going to need the clearance. The bigger tire is going to give you a lot more traction. So on-road, I can't speak to that. On-road, you're going to want to run something a little smaller. be able to drive, daily driver or something. But something you're going to take off road, the bigger tire makes a big difference, right?
Absolutely. I think for off-road, the bigger the tire that you can get, the better the performance is going to be, the more ground clearance you can have. Sean hit the nail on the head with that. For on-road performance, I'll give you an example. We have a really great customer. I think he's going to come on our podcast in the future, by the way.
Okay.
We have a really great customer, and he's got a big diesel truck, and he wanted 37s with large poke and all this other kind of stuff, and he did. And we set him up with an awesome set of wheels and tires. I think he used them for like 4 or 5 months because he realized he doesn't take his diesel off-road. He tows a big camper with it all the time, and then he uses his UTVs to go side-by-sides to go have fun.
Yeah.
So he came back and said, Pete, something's not right. We gotta do something different. And believe it or not, within only a few months, we went from 37s with large poke to 35s with minimal poke. And the reason that he did that is the truck responded better to having a smaller tire on the road. So he was able to transfer torque more easily, especially when he's hauling stuff. The transmission wasn't as angry at him. It just worked better the whole way around. And then the flip side of that too was like he had this large poke, and we talked about this with the Bronco. Yeah. Like I can give a million reasons why not to have large poke.
Yeah.
He had this poke, and he was just getting dirt up the side of his truck all the time, and it was just kind of. And he had mud terrains at first as well, so he went from mud terrains to all terrains. So he went from 37s, large poke, mud terrains to 35s, minimal poke, and ATs. And he's way happier now. And that's because that truck lives on the road most of the time. It still looks awesome, still a great rig, but that's a prime example of why maybe on the road you don't want the biggest tire that you can possibly get.
Right.
But if you're doing off-road stuff like with the Bronco's designed just to be off-road. It's got 37s on it right now. It can fit the way we've designed it. I think it'll fit 38s, maybe even 40s without any issue. And so we may go up to that in the future. But, right now it's got 37s on it.
Nice. Right. Choosing the right tire for your style of off-roading. What does that even matter or mean, or what we got for that?
Yeah, again, this is probably a little more specific than what I'm used to talking about, and Peter can get into it, but I think guys have a preference for a tire, right? For me, I think for a lot of guys it's going to be a BFG, but a lot of guys might have a different tire that they like to run. So I think it's just preference there, right?
Absolutely. And going to the actual question, like for your different types of off-roading. So if you're in a lot of mud and sand and stuff like that, you go to a mud terrain. Absolutely should go to a mud terrain. If you're in like Moab where you have, they call it slick rock. It's not slick. It's like sandpaper. It's got so much traction that like an all-terrain just dominates, does an amazing job. So does a mud terrain there, by the way. I mean, they both do really, really well.
Yeah.
So when we're trying to choose for just the off-roading purpose, if we are not consumed with, hey, I'm going to drive this car down the road in all 4 seasons, I think you really can get specific. So he talked about BFG. BFG makes awesome tires. We sell more BFG than any other brand for off-road rigs, but we do sell a ton of Toyo as well. Mickey Thompson every now and then. And so there's other brands. Nitto makes a lot of tires for off-roading as well. And so we sell a lot of those along with it. And the great thing is if you choose like those high-end brands, you almost can't go wrong. The tire's going to be awesome. And it's going to look cool on your rig. And it's just going to be a good time. But yeah, so sand, mud, go mud terrain. For slick rock or like just dry off-roading, I think an all-terrain is going to be fantastic for you. And then different parts of the country require different things too. So like East Coast mud, it cakes really easily. So if you're like in Kentucky or West Virginia or Pennsylvania or something like that, that mud is like, it just cakes. So you want like Mickey Thompson makes a great mud terrain that really flings, clears.
Releases it off.
Yeah, it clears really easily. And so, I think a lot of people out there like that tire. And then, you could obviously go with a BFG or a Toyo MT as well. But like that brand seems to resonate with that group of people. And then when you head out west where it's a lot more dry, you can get into kind of really anything you want. And the big thing is, tires can get super specific. They can have different sidewall thicknesses and things like that. So just know what you're getting into. Again, talk to an expert. Call Off-RoadX. We'd be glad to help people choose the right tire for them, because you can choose different load ratings. You can choose different sidewall thicknesses. Certain tires are lighter than other tires. Like certain brands are lighter.
And you have a way to calculate that for turn radius and everything like that, so you can set someone up with the right style.
Absolutely. So if somebody comes to us and says, I want this, or this is the style that I like, we can actually do all the calculations to determine not only like how far their poke will be because they're changing tire size, how much rubbing they'll have, if they'll have any rubbing. We can also adjust the vehicle so it doesn't rub. And then obviously your speedometer comes into play too. So when you go up in size, you're actually changing the speed that you're going down the road. Even if your speedometer says 55, you may be going faster or slower depending on the tire size that you change to. And so here at Off-RoadX, we have the equipment for most vehicles. I'm sure there's some vehicles and some brands that we can't do it with, but almost every vehicle we can change the tire diameter in the computer. And so we can just say, hey, this is the new tire diameter, and it'll correct for your speedometer for you.
Nice. Yeah. Kind of reset, reconfigure it.
Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just, like I said, if you're going 60 miles an hour, you might be going 63 or 65, or you might be going 53 or 55. It depends depending on how you've changed your tire size.
Yeah, it would suck to get a ticket for getting new tires. You know what I mean? I'd be really upset.
Yeah, you think you're going 70 miles an hour, and it turns out you're going 78, and then you get pulled over for it. Yeah.
Spend $2,000 on tires and get a $100 ticket.
Yeah, man. All right, next one I got for you is tire pressure tips. When to air down.
Always.
Yeah. Well, always off-roading, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I should keep mine pretty aired up then, right? Mine stays on concrete.
Yeah. Every time you go to the trail, you're going to want to air down. Okay. I was amazed when we went out how much you actually do air down, how low you actually get it. But the tire pushes down, you get more surface area, which equals more traction. So you can kind of tell everybody how much you air down.
Yeah, what's the percentage rate? How do you base this?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a number? What's going on?
Yeah, I'll definitely get into that. The other thing is comfort.
Yeah, true.
You get
Gives you a better ride.
Yeah, you get beat up sometimes when you're off-roading, especially if the pebbles are the right size, like the rocks are the right size, and they're on the trail. You just feel like you're getting abused.
Shaking up.
Yeah. If that ever happens, just lower your tire pressure a few psi, and you'll notice a big difference. So I will say this: I'm gonna do this in generality real quick, and then maybe I'll get into a little specifics.
Okay.
If you're off-roading, I would say that with regular wheels and tires, you should be. Or when I say regular off-road wheels and tires, you should be able to go down to anywhere between 18 to 22 psi without any issues with popping a bead or anything like that. So for those off-roaders out there that are just kind of looking like, I want more comfort, I need some more traction, but I don't want to pop my bead off the side of the rim, 18 to 22 PSI, go down to that. You should be fine unless you're doing something stupid.
Yeah. So how important is that for different terrains to do?
Pretty important sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. So you may be trying to rock crawl up something and you're just spinning.
Because your tires got too much air.
They got too much air, yeah.
Okay.
Or you're going into a mud bog, or you're snow wheeling, and you're just not getting enough footprint to kind of stay afloat, stay on top of what you need to be good. So yeah, there's a ton of benefits to airing down. My recommendation for airing down is to air down as soon as you're getting to dirt. I don't care if it's a nice dirt road and it's going to be super smooth. The second you get to dirt, air down. And here's the other thing. Don't worry about airing back up if you're going a few miles on the pavement. Yeah. Some guys, they'll air down, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting on the pavement. I got to air up.
Yeah.
Yes, will it wear your tread away a little bit faster? Yes, will it put a little more heat into the tire? Absolutely. So these things do happen. But, if you're only going 15, 20 miles on pavement, it's a lot of work to air down your tires, re-air them up, and then air them down again and do all that. And then from what Sean was talking about, I run bead locks. It's super unnecessary for 99% of off-roaders and things like that, but it allows me to air down to basically whatever I want. So there are times where I'm airing down to 8, 9 PSI and just, rocking that, and it's so nice because it's so soft and so plush, and I've got all the traction in the world. So we talked about two-wheel off-roading a lot, and I told you, like, sometimes I like the two-wheel off-road till I can't, and oftentimes I never get into four-wheel drive.
Is that because you go down to
part of it's that
single digits?
Yeah, part of it's that you get so much more traction out of your tires, and it just makes life a lot better.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, how important is the tire pressure for different terrains? You answered that. Basically, you like to go crazy low. You like to lower it just a little bit, right?
Well, I don't run beadlocks, so I can't. But he goes crazy low because he knows he's never going to pop that.
So, but when you go off road, you still lower yours a little bit, or
you always do? Yeah,
you always do.
I would always, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I think that 18 to 22 psi mark is a real good mark to be at.
Really? What's the average tire pressure for an off-road tire? Is it 40? For
like people driving them on the roads? Yeah, I would say between 35 and 40 psi.
40?
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure too.
Yeah.
All right. What are the pros and cons of going with bigger tires?
Yeah, we kind of touched base on that a little bit earlier, but the bigger tire gives you a lot of clearance, gives your vehicle a lot more maneuverability. So it's huge when you're out there having a bigger tire.
So pros, clearance.
Yeah, clearance is a big one, and I'm glad you hit on that because I might not remember that. When you do like a lift for your suspension, you actually, yes, the body moves up, but you don't get any additional clearance between the diff and your axle and your lower shock mount to the ground if you're not changing your tire.
Gotcha.
Now, there's another thing called portals. We're not going to get into that in this episode. That you can also do this with, and it costs a ridiculous amount of money to do.
Yeah.
But for those of us normal folk that don't have the money to put in portals, tires is a great way to get lift. So and not only do you get lift from the axle, the transmission, all that kind of stuff goes up, and it's not just suspension. So I think that's a great pro to going to bigger tires.
All right, give me one con.
Well, I'll give you a con because I'm cheap. They cost a lot of money.
Dude, I like that one.
I know. And so, like, if you get into this, you're going to spend a lot of money. So tires are expensive. So that's a con. They don't ride well on the road sometimes. Sometimes if you don't have a true dedicated vehicle or buggy and you're running it as a daily runner, you're going to run down those tires driving them around. So you spend a lot of money on them and then you're going to go wear them out driving around.
So when we're talking about all-terrain mud tires hybrid, right, we've kind of went through differences of each one. Longevity of the daily driver that's using their same rig to go to work and then go off-road. What tire? All-terrain all the way, right?
AT, yeah. I would go AT every time. A mud terrain can be fine, again, in different environments. We're in Colorado, so ATs just work really good for all year round. But even if I was like in Florida or Texas or something like that, I think I'd still lean towards an AT, especially if I'm driving it to work every day. MTs typically are noisier, and as they get older, they tend to cup. And cupping is like when the edge of the tire starts to roll over before the next lug comes up. So if there's a lug, it rolls over, and then the next lug is a little higher than the previous lug at that point. And when it hits the ground, it slaps.
So it's like that.
Yeah,
or something
and
like
so
that.
if you've ever been next to a guy with mud terrains and they have cupped a little,
it can drone.
Yep.
It can drive you crazy driving down the highway. It's just this drone, and it'll just give you a headache after a while.
Yeah.
All right.
And we talked about tire PSI. That's really important on the road too, to find the right tire PSI for your rig. And when you change tire size, your tire pressure might also change as well. So if you are stock running like a 33 and the door panel says you should be running 35 PSI, you'll put, let's say you move to a 35, you change your offset, your tire goes outside the fender with a little poke, all this kind of stuff. Now you're driving down the road at 35 PSI and you're wearing the edges of the tire. So what that means is you need to add a little more air, or vice versa. You're wearing the center of the tire at 35 PSI. So when you change tire size, when you change your tire setup, I always tell people, like, really watch how the tread is wearing for the first, usually up to like 5,000 miles. And you should be able to tell by then, like, oh, it's wearing in the middle more. It's wearing on the edges more. And
so middle is too much air. Outside is
too little air.
Too little air.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then and we can get into alignments if it's wearing on the inside more than the outside, now you've got an alignment issue, and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. So we've kind of talked about all three types. So for all these fancy tire tread designs, does it really make a difference? Or are they just for looks?
I don't know. Peter's going to add to this, but
Do you have fancy tire tread or what?
No, I have all terrains.
Okay.
So to me, it's for looks. I think, in my opinion, it's kind of like a guitar for me. If I'm playing a guitar, it's any guitar I can play it. The tires are going to still give you traction. I think it's for looks, but Peter's going to tell you something different, I think so.
I think it depends on the tire. So there's certain brands that I think make tires that look good on purpose. And they don't perform as well as some of the tires.
Made for performance and off-road and ATV.
Correct, yeah.
AT.
So there are certain aspects of a tire that look cooler than other aspects. Like some people like really big side lugs.
Yep.
Some people want, the tread pattern to be a certain way. Like I really love the way BFG KO2s look. I'm struggling with the KO3 design in the tread pattern area. But like some people like the way that the Goodyear Duratrack looks, or the
Some
Hankook.
of those Mickey Thompsons look really aggressive, right? So they look sweet, right?
Yeah.
They do look cool.
I think Mickey does a really good job, though. I actually think that even though theirs look really cool, I think that they actually perform really well too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to poke fun at Nitto. Nitto's a fairly good brand, and there's definitely no problems with it. But I do find that like their designs typically are more look cool what do we say? Form versus function. They are more form than function.
Yeah.
Aesthetic versus performance.
Yeah, but I will tell you this much. Every tire manufacturer, they put their heart and soul into these tires. They absolutely do. They know where they stand in their market. They know what they have to do to compete. And, you get companies like, this is like the head-to-head like battle.
Yeah.
The BFG KO series and the Toyo Open Country series. Like, these two companies are doing everything they can to beat each other.
It's just one up.
Yeah. So they care about it the way it looks. They care about the way it performs. They are doing everything they can to make that tire as cool looking and as best performing as it possibly can. And, there are so many people, so many customers that we have that will not put a BFG on their tire or on their car. Yeah. They will only put the Toyo on, and they will badmouth the BFG. And then I have the reverse. I have people that will badmouth the Toyo, only put the BFG on. Through my working these tires, selling these tires, putting these tires on my own rigs and things like that, I don't think there's a better tire. I haven't tried the KO3 yet. It's going to happen probably next year. But the KO2, I think, is the best performing tire for our climate and our terrain. And that's why I put BFGs on all of my cars.
So do you guys stop at red lights and stare at tires or what? Like, you guys are very in depth and in tune with some of these tread patterns and brands. And,
I was going to say, I have a feeling we're going to get some comments about this.
Absolutely.
There's going to be some people with an opinion out there, I think. So we'll see what happens.
Those are a nice set of tires right there.
I do.
I
do. I don't know if he does, but like...
I look when you point it out. That's the only time I pay attention. Like, check out those tires.
So do you like, is there a compliment? Is there a way to give a dude a compliment, like nice rubbers or something? Is that too off the wall? I'm new to this. I need to know so I don't get punched in the nose.
I think nice setup, man. Hey, those tires, nice setup.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Scratch the nice rubbers.
Don't say nice rubbers thing.
We're learning. We're learning. This is why we're here.
It gets bad when I'm off-roading and I see a tread pattern in the dirt and I know what it is.
Yeah, that's
It's bad.
I gotta
get
a different hobby. Yeah. You go do bird watching or something, Heard that's fun.
I do have a question I just thought about. TPMS still work on these big tires?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So TPMS is tire pressure monitoring system.
Yeah.
And most vehicles, if not all vehicles, come with them now. And we do a lot of TPMS work. So customers come in and their TPMS battery has gone dead over the years. It's been damaged somehow. Funny story. We recently had a guy, because it snowed recently, and he was hooning out in his Toyota Tundra, and he hit a curb. And he hit the curb right where the TPMS sensor was. He popped the bead on his tire and then crushed the TPMS sensor. And so, he came to us and we got a new TPMS sensor in there for him. But yeah, TPMS sensors absolutely work for all tires. And there are different companies. I think it's called ITPMS, and I might get that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's ITPMS. There's certain brands that have this ITPMS, which is built into the hub of the vehicle, so it actually doesn't have a sensor in the tire, which is a little bit different. But we, we do a lot of TPMS, and we have a brand that we really like, and we use a lot of, and it works fantastic.
This is what tells my dash my tire pressure, right? Tire pressure sensor.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's exactly it.
So one last question, and I think, sorry to take over the
No,
question.
you got it, dude. I like this.
Do you use the computer when you're airing down on the trail, or do you verify with a pressure gauge too?
Oh, that's a great question. I just use the computer. My vehicle
You're
has...
just feel the air come out?
Yeah. I'm not,
that's for that 9 PSI.
There's some guys out there that they use their knee and they knee the tire and they know within a couple PSI what the tire's at. I'm
Based
not that
on
good.
the softness of it or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not that good. I use the dash in the rigs that I have. They are pretty quick and consistent and accurate. So I use the dash to air down. But I actually have a little tool that is preset to 18 PSI.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so I have a tool that I plug into my tires or my wheels that drains them to 18 PSI automatically.
Wow.
So I just put them in and that's it.
Yep.
Freaking technology, dude.
That's cool.
You can't just air down a tire like a normal Joe, right?
No.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Get a stick and just stab it into your little tire stem. All right, that's it for questions on that end. We're going to hit some rapid fire before we wrap this up, all right?
Awesome.
Bigger tires or stock tires with better tread? What would you prefer?
We're going off-road. Bigger tires.
Bigger tires.
Yeah, completely agree. Bigger tires.
Mud.
I'm sorry?
Mud situation then.
Yeah, absolutely bigger tires.
Yep.
Yeah, bigger tires.
What if they're bald? We're talking about tires with great tread and just big. You don't even know what's on there.
Well, you didn't.
It's what I'm saying. You guys went for once again. You guys are going for size.
Size is what matters.
If you guys can see these mics, I don't have a little head. These are some double XLs. But yeah, so you would still take bigger tires over stock size with great tread in mud.
Well, if
off-roading.
it was truly bald, I would have to go with the great tread. But most of the time, even with a little bit of tread, the aggressive tread, even if it's worn a little bit, I'd still take a bigger tire.
There's a great example of that. This is going back 3 or 4 years ago. We were doing our Moab trip, and I burn up a set of KO2s on my Raptor every year. So they're supposed to last 50, 60,000 miles. I get about 5,000 miles out of them. I might have a lead foot. I might like to slide sideways on gravel and pavement.
Yeah.
I only do it in places where you're allowed to do it. I don't do it, on public streets and things like that. But I like to chew up my tires or use them up pretty quickly. And we were headed to Moab, and I had the new set of tires just sitting in the shop, just ready to go on. And one of the guys that works for us, who will be on this podcast in the future for sure, turned to me and says, "You are not going to Moab with the tires that you have." They were at the tread wear indicator. The tread wear indicator is on the tire, and my tread was level with the tread wear indicator on a BFG KO2. We had 2 friends of ours that we had built their rigs just like that a couple weeks leading to Moab, and we put brand new rubber on both of them, one with a KM3, BFG KM3, which is mud terrain, and then one with a BFG KO2, brand new tires.
Okay.
So we go to Moab, we're off-roading, and it starts pouring rain on us, and we're going up this kind of slick rock section, and it wasn't slick rock, it was actually like limestone rock. It was in a weird location, and man, it was a little hairy. Raptor just went right up it, no problem. Both of the customers struggled to go up of it a little bit, and the guy that works for us and is a good friend of ours, he just was blown away. He's like, "I'm wrong. I am sorry." So there you go. that was an old tire versus a new tire. Now it was two different rigs too. It was a Tacoma with a brand new KO2 on it, and I had the Raptor, so that plays into it as well.
Yeah, Toyota.
There we go. I knew you guys would get bashing the Toyota sooner or later.
This whole episode was set up for that right there. You know, we were just waiting for this.
Toyota sucks.
Yeah.
That's great.
I do have to say, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
That Raptor is amazing. Finish your story.
Yeah. And I probably was aired down much less as well because I'm running beadlocks. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. But going back to what Sean said is like, you'd be surprised at how good some of these tires are right up to the tread wear indicators. And you can continue to rock them until they're almost bald.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Next one. Quick yes or no, or pick one. AT or MT for your daily driver?
AT.
Yeah, we kind of we discussed that.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Beadlocks, must have or overkill? I think I know the answer for each one of you, actually.
So you can go off-roading without them.
Exactly.
A lot of beginners get into it without them, but if you want to do what Peter does, it's a must-have.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to say you don't need them.
Wow.
That was like the complete opposite of what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I thought Sean was going to be like, nope. And Pete's like, gotta have it.
Yeah. So I think for 99% of people, easily 99%, it's probably 99.9, you don't need them.
Okay.
And then if you want to still have some security, there's some brands that make some cool technology in wheels, like Method. We sell a lot of Method wheels, and they have this bead grip technology where they have ribs on the inside of the wheel that kind of helps lock the tire in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that can be really beneficial. We sell Icon wheels as well. Icon have the stem that kind of goes behind the bead and kind of locks it in from that. So there are some brands that have some different types of technology that they're using to help protect the bead. And there's also some brands where they'll make the outside rim of the tire, or the wheel, I should say, bigger than the inside. And so we have to mount them backwards. And so you can't mount them from the other end because you cannot fit the tire over that side of the rim. So there are some brands that like get you almost there, almost to beadlock. And some of those brands claim that you can go down to single digits and have no issues at all.
Really?
So, and I've got lots of customers and I've got friends that run those types of things. In fact, I'm the only one in Off-RoadX, and I think the only customer that, maybe we've had one customer that was putting 44s on a buggy that did beadlocks. And there's some other customers that have done beadlocks as well. But I think for like the true off-roaders, the ones that are going, there's only like a couple we've had to do where it's been necessary, right?
Gotcha.
My rigs, I do actually go to Sean's point. I do think it's necessary. There are times when we recover people and you cannot get the rig in the good position. And we go to a snatch block off of a tree sideways and then to their rig. And so what that's doing is that's pulling my truck to the side. Yeah. And the tire will actually, because we're on low PSI, will fold under, and basically the terrain is trying to pull that tire off the bead.
Rim, yeah.
And so in those situations, and there's been times where Sean said it to me, and Clint, who's another guy that works for us, he's been like, Pete, your tire's completely flat. It's folded under, and I just don't care because I am that confident in the bead locks.
Oh, really?
And so I'll just keep pulling the rig, and then as soon as the rig comes out, the truck kind of just stands back up on its tires. It's kind of neat.
So this is why his tires last 5,000 miles.
That's right.
Compared to, 50.
That's right.
All right. Road noise or off-road performance?
I think that's
what's more important?
Road noise, it sucks. It sucks. I actually think it would be tough. I mean, fortunately, Toyo makes a great tire. Hankook makes a great all-terrain. BFG makes a great all-terrain. Nitto makes it. I mean, all these companies make good all-terrains that are pretty quiet. Goodyear doesn't. I actually don't think
the Wrangler sucks.
Yeah.
No.
I think that their tires are really noisy on the roads for ATs.
Yep.
But most brands sell a tire that sounds pretty quiet on the road and performs really great off-road. So you don't have to make that compromise. But if you did, I actually think I'd go for a more comfortable road tire.
Yeah.
And, the thing is, even with our rigs, which are designed to go off-road, and we do off-road them, they'd spend a lot of time off-road. They spend more time on the road.
Exactly.
and it can really, I mean, it can give you headaches. I know some people that get dizzy from like the noise that can be created from it.
Yeah, I had a set of Goodyears, and they were horrible. I don't know, maybe they've gotten better over the years, but the droning was just terrible, and I couldn't take it. So I would take a better tire, less aggressive, if I could get rid of road noise. But a lot of these good tires don't have a lot of road noise unless you have strange wear on the tire itself. So I think
that could be a sign too that something's right and wrong, right?
It could, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. All right, last rapid fire. White letters or black letters on the sidewall?
I'm all black letters.
White.
I was about to say, I see white letters.
Yeah.
I'm with him.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the white.
Yeah.
White.
No.
Come on. Have a little character. Have a little fun with life. Life's too short to just be...
White letters was like 70s. Are you trying to bring it back? Are you bringing that back?
Why don't you get white walls added to you?
Oh, good idea.
See, I don't think I'm not down with the white walls. White letters, to me, it's like NASCAR. It's racing. It's Formula One. It's Baja. That's why I think of white letters and go with white letters. If they made the white letter BFGs in the sizes for my rigs, I would have the white letters out.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, they're kind of pointing to the car that's sitting next to us. It's got white letters on it, and it's a little more character. And when you're driving,
red and
it
black
just kind of
rims too, so it's all over the place. Just heads up.
Yeah.
it looks. I think it adds a little character. I'm always disappointed. We do a lot of tires where they are not directional tires, and on the inside or the outside of the tire, you could have the white letters. And I think 100% of the time, we've sold thousands of tires at this point, and I think 100% of customers have chose black.
Absolutely.
I think 100%. I don't think I've tried to like talk them into it. I'm like, are you sure you don't want the white letters? And they're like, no, like not even having it, not even entertaining the idea.
All right.
I think you're all too closed off.
Funny.
You need to get in touch with your emotions.
I'm not closed off, but it makes me think of an old 71 square body Blazer with those white letters
What's
on
wrong
it.
with that?
Nothing, but you got to have the handlebar mustache and the polyester shirt. And,
Dude,
you know.
I'm going to get you a set of valve stem lights for your tires.
No.
Dude,
No, that's going too far.
that's safety though.
No,
People can
that's
see
not
you
safe.
Coming.
It's
Absolutely.
That's illegal.
Is it?
I think it is. Yeah, I don't
Dude,
know that for sure.
you'd be the coolest guy out rock crawling if
with
you
lights
had.
on my.
Absolutely.
That ain't happening.
So not
you could do that as a joke though. That'd be
That-
hilarious.
Not
just go
to
put it on someone's
segue.
tires. You're like,
I saw a truck the other day with lights under the wheel wells. Is that illegal?
I think
I thought it was.
I think it is on the street.
Okay.
really?
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do it. Typically that's called underglow. Now in the off-road world we call it rock lights.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah, they're kind of the same though. They just light up underneath the rig, and I think for street use, in certain states for sure.
Yeah.
In Colorado, I actually
wasn't sure.
Don't know the case here.
Yeah.
I do know that like you can't do colors, so like you can't have red. While you're driving down the road, you might be able to get away with white, a regular light.
And light bars are not allowed.
There actually are some SAE light bars that you can have on your rig that are totally legal, Department of Transportation approved light bars that you can drive on the roads with. They have to have that SAE logo on them, and they have to be designed to be able to do that. So that's not entirely true.
Those guys are in a class of their own. That's all I'm going to say. They probably like meet for pancakes at Waffle House. It's not even the right place to go.
Yeah, there's no pancakes at Waffle
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Something's wrong with them.
House. Shout out to Waffle House. I love some waffles.
Dude, I do too.
Oh man, do I love Waffle House?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the all-star there, right?
It's a good place to stop before and after your off-road trip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Waffle House.
Yeah.
Waffle House, hit us up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys' time and your opinions on these subjects we had here today. So for all you listeners out there, why don't you reach out to the comments, let us know what tires you're using. If you have any questions about it, reach out to Pete, Sean here. They can help you out, get you set up for the right terrain that you're going to tackle.
Yeah, and I've got something for you.
What do you got?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Dude, it better be like a 60-inch tire so you can barely carry it.
Okay, Spence.
Valve stem light. Dude, it's called this. I actually think I know what this is if it has the right words on
We're
it.
talking about it.
It's a valve stem sensor. Easy. Says it right here.
So that is a TPMS, a tire pressure monitoring system sensor.
Does this matter what vehicle it goes into, or are they all kind of universal based on like my infotainment center? I guess that's not the infotainment. Infotainment. It's more of the dash, right? These all connect universally, or?
Well, go ahead. They're very some are very specific, some are universal, but they do require programming, right?
That's right. So there are vehicles that require specific ones, and actually each vehicle has a code for each TPMS that's in the wheels that are on that vehicle. So your TPMS that are in your truck, even though yours is a Ford F-150 Raptor, I cannot put them in my truck and they'll automatically work. I say that, but in Ford's case, they actually do try to learn them, and so that would. But there are certain brands where that's the case. Toyotas are known for being difficult.
I mean, that's why you don't get one.
But so a TPMS, yes, it is unique to the vehicle.
Okay.
But from a brand perspective, we sell these Autel ones, and we think they're the best on the market. We've got the programmers for them, so if you're having TPMS issues, hit us up. We'd be happy to fix those problems for you. And these sensors are so great because we can do a couple different smart things with them that can help resolve some TPMS issues. So for instance, if your battery's dead, obviously just replace them, right? We can replace them and do that. There are certain vehicles that have a learning procedure that can automatically learn these TPMSs.
Okay.
But beyond that, we can actually log into the computer on your car. We can download the code for the TPMS sensor, and then we can clone it with these. So what cloning it allows us to do is it allows the car thinks that's the unit it's always had. So we can program that unit in your hand to be like any other unit on the planet.
Okay.
And so that's what makes these Autel sensors so dang cool. I know it doesn't seem cool.
No, I mean,
these
dude,
are really cool things. There's one other.
I got to stress. There's a thing that says press, and I've been pressing the whole time, and nothing's happened.
I am so glad you said that because I was just about to jump into that. Yes, there's one very unique thing about these sensors, and I don't know if this camera is going to pick this up. I'm going to put it right in front of your face, but there's this little push button here. This push button allows the valve stem to come off the sensor. Now, you would think like, okay, what's the real purpose of that? Well, one is when you go to change tires, sometimes you want to change this just alone.
Gotcha.
This still may be good. This is expensive. This is the expensive part, right? So this part, you may want to replace it. So great, you can take it apart from this, and then you can put it back in. The other great thing about these Autel sensors is that most of them have a screw that goes through the bottom. This sensor actually has the screw hole. So if you don't have this type of valve stem, which just clips on, you can still install this on one with a screw. One last thing about this, and this is probably the most cool thing about that push button thing and why I love these sensors so much. When you're mounting a tire, you have to be very specific about getting the tire in a position where it's not going to grab and damage us. I would say that most sensors are ruined when you get new tires. Guys make a mistake. Even we make mistakes. I mean, it happens. Tire slips a little bit. It grabs the sensor. It breaks the sensor. What's great about these is when there's enough pressure on this,
pop out?
It pops out and it doesn't
the
break.
breakaway system.
Correct.
Smart.
So there's so many benefits to these Autel sensors. We absolutely love them. This is a metal cased sensor. We actually have these in black. So if you've got black wheels and you really think, oh, I want this to be really cool. This is a hard one, hard sensor. So hard valve stem. We can go with black caps. We can go with black metal on it. We can even do rubber ones. And the rubber ones are the most common ones that we use. Price is the same for all of them. We don't charge any different for them. But you kind of can pick and choose what looks good in your rig.
That's kind of fancy, man.
And so that is your TPMS sensor. We talked about it during this episode, and it is something that we install a ton of.
Super neat, man. I never knew there could be that much into a tire, by the way. So that wraps it up for all the tire questions we had today. So if you guys have any questions, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Join the Rally Club on Facebook, right?
Absolutely.
That's a big one for Pete.
Yeah, the Rally Club's awesome. It's free to join. You get access to free trips during the summer where you can off-road with us. having an awesome time. All of our trips are overnight, so you get to camp. We have just great roads, or great trails, great time camping. It's just a fun atmosphere, and you get to learn a lot when you come on these trips. And then there is a paid option as well, which will give you discounts on products like these TPMS sensors. So if you want to pay to join the club, you get swag when you join, and that really covers the cost of what you pay to join. And then on top of that, you get discounts on a ton of products and on our labor. So if you're going to do what we call a dream build, it's always beneficial to join the rally
club. It
club.
pays for itself right off the bat. I mean,
absolutely,
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's the top tier is $50. If you're spending $4,000, you're gonna save well more than $50 right away.
Absolutely, smart choice.
But yeah, Sean always comes. Or he tries to come on a lot of the rally club events.
Yeah, good group of people always out there. So join us, come on out, have a good time, do some off-roading.
Yep. And last point about it is you get early access to content like this, QXA, and you get a lot more data on our Facebook page.
Right on. So if you have any questions, give Off-RoadX a call. Check us out on the website, offroadx.com. Until next time, keep your wheels dirty. Adventure's fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
We're
thank
out.
you.
Bye.
I like that.
I don't know why I said bye like I was talking to my grandma.
I'm going to leave that.